My name is Hoojung Lee. I am the guest creator of the current show at Korean Culture Center, Los Angeles. In conjunction with the 40th anniversary of Korean Culture Center, Los Angeles, I am very delighted to be working with the Korean Culture Center on Beyond the Light of East and West. This exhibition is an imperative survey exploring the meaningful connections that highlight distinctive aesthetics and perspectives. Beyond the Light of East and West is composed of 20 pieces of artworks, including paintings, sculptures, and on site-specific installation. It features 3 Korean artists, including Chong-hyun, Hyung-dae, Hyung-keun, and 3 Los Angeles-based artists, including Larry Bell, Laddie John Dill, and Helen Pashgian. This exhibition creates dialogue between Korean monochrome and chromatic paintings by the Korean artists in comparison with light and space by the Los Angeles artists. Both groups of artists had components of minimalism by reducing the qualities of the object to minimalistic forms and exploring industrial materials or the most available materials with a hard edge and geometric aesthetics. The main focus of this exhibition is to investigate the future artists who engaged using profound minimalistic ideas in conjunction with the void as notions of Eastern philosophy and spirituality through light. In addition, the exhibition reflects on their distinctive ideas and practices while examining the similarities and differences between the links of the artists between the East and West.
Hello, I'm Ashley Rawlings, and I'm a director at BLUM & Poe, a contemporary art gallery based in Los Angeles, New York, and Tokyo, which has held regular exhibitions of Korean Tanseiko artists over the last decade.
Chong-hyun made this work, Parallel Position, in 1971, which clearly shows the influence of Monoha. So here what matters is the process. Ha stretched coarsely woven hemp onto a stretcher and pushed thick oil paint from the back of the canvas through the weave of the canvas towards the surface. After that, he would use a range of tools, whether it's a brush or a palette knife or something else, to manipulate the paint into all manner of compositions. In this piece, he simply let gravity do its work and the paint would dribble down from the points in the canvas where it had been pushed through. As the title Conjunction suggests, his interest is in the fusion of these two materials, paint and canvas. So although it's in the context of painting, you can see the clear relationship with Monoha in terms of material and the existence of material being allowed to speak for itself.
These bright colors of chromatic painters are created by Hyung-dae. Kim's effort to stay away from the influence of Western hard edge paintings and the mainstream monochrome tendency was reinforced in his Halo series. His Eastern spirit and exuberance were embedded in the work and were essential motives in his mark-making process. Repeating the motion and adding patterns on the surface of painting was combined with his desire for chromatic paintings. In the Halo series, Kim observed the light coming from behind and perceived it as a spirit. The light was conceived as the everlasting Korean spirit of an artist. His style also energized the Halo series with the longitude and the latitude lines demonstrating visual and tactile depth, which functioned as vital elements in the development in this series.
Hyung-keun would repeatedly pour layers of umber and ultramarine mixed with turpentine and allowed it to run over the canvas and bleed into it like water soaking into soil. But whereas Ha tended to create all-over compositions in his canvases, the dark stains in Yun's work alternately drew attention to the empty areas of plain canvas and to the physical edges of the painting, which again was his way of challenging conventional ideas about painting in Korea.
Larry Bell rose to prominence as a leading member of the Light and Space movement initiated in Southern California during the 1960s and 70s. Over the course of his career, Larry Bell has made investigations into the properties of light on surface. By experimenting with the nature of surface and its relationship to space, Bell has devised a methodology characterized by spontaneity, intuition, and improvisation. The curvilinear imagery in certain compositions, such as his fondness for acoustic guitars. This body of large works incorporate an unusually shaped frame, which is deep on the top edge and shallow at the bottom. A number of works in this series incorporate a red kojo paper that is handmade in Japan to the artist's specifications.
I grew up with oscilloscopes in the living room and laser beams running down the hall that split into 5 directions, and this was in the 50s. That was my environment that I grew up in, and I always was taken by the color, by the quality of the color of these gases that are activated by a high voltage and very low amperage. This set of work is all argon with mercury gas. And what you're looking at is a series of tubes that are welded together that have inner coatings in them. Or they're the color of the glass themselves, or they're clear. In this case, this guy here, this is a clear glass. This is the actual gas color. The first thing I would say to like incoming art students, so I'd say, how many in this class have a plan B? You know, and the ones that raised their hand, I said, just go now, because I'm only interested in people who have no choice. I've actually shown twice now in Seoul, and so I'm very glad to be here at the Korean Cultural Center.
This colorful sphere is created by Helen Pashgian. She has since spent more than 5 decades experimenting with new approaches: plastic, cast epoxies, polyester resins, and formed acrylics. Over the trajectory of her career, she has created a single body of work, including spheres, columns, and discs. Helen Pashgian's work sometimes appear to be suspended, embedded, or encased within it. The viewer's perception of the surroundings may become diminished, and solid shape becomes immersive. Pashgian's primary concern has always been maintained that light is both the object and subject of her work. That light is not simply a metaphor, symbol, or allegory. Rather, light itself is both the medium and the message.
love the minimalism, I love the title Beyond the Light. I hope that we're a small part of the beyond part. There's a number of pieces that inspire me a lot. Laddie's pieces in the back, the brilliant light sculptures, and I love this red one right here that really speaks to me a lot.
I think all of them do. They all touch you in a different way. I mean, I love the hues of these pieces over here. When fabric sits for a few decades, it just touches, it changes, and it's just beautiful.
Oh, so many, that's a myriad of feelings. Some touch you in a very somber, darker way, and it evokes a very melancholy feeling, and others are uplifting. The red one here speaks to me a lot. It has like that vibrance and the real energy to it. And I love the one that Charlie mentioned too over here. Those have such a deep, earthy tone, and it makes me feel much more in tune with the earth, and it makes me feel like I want to play lower tones and things that are more dramatic.
For me personally, it makes me feel like I'm not alone. You know? It's like sometimes we often feel alone inside, and when you see other people making creations that move you, you feel like you're part of a collective, even though you never met the person.
As the first major exhibition to bring these works together at the Korean Culture Center, Los Angeles, the survey exhibition encourages comprehensive, critical discussion from the viewers. I hope this exhibition will facilitate understanding the extraordinary artists who created these unprecedented art scenes in both East and the West. Beyond the Light represents a pivotal turning point in our history.